What's on the menu tonight, boys?
Jamaica. Jamaica's a little gem of a game that we pizza nights honestly isn't getting the attention it deserves. Though, to be fair, we haven't been in the hobby as long as others in the community. Players each take the role of a pirate, racing around the island of Jamaica in a fantastical Pirates of the Caribbean land crossed with Formula One like a fan fiction that had run out of ideas. But you can't just get to the end first, that wouldn't be in the spirit of the game. As a player, you have to navigate quickly and cleverly to collect some of the various treasures that populate the map.
Holy shit! There's an eye patch and treasure.
Jamaica does not actually contain eye patch or treasure. It's a cute blend of racing and greed that makes for a lot of really good moments around the table.
The box itself actually looks like a treasure chest. There's a lock in the front, and when you open it, the back of the rulebook actually looks like a pile of doubloons.
But the first real treasure within is the beautifully crafted game board, and under that, an absolutely genius insert containing all of the necessary game pieces.
You got your doubloons, which is the main goal of any pirate worth his salt.
Speaking of salt, you've got your salted meats to feed your crew.
There is also a bunch of cannons. These represent ways to add power to your combat, so you can kill other people's crews, because who doesn't like nautical slaughter?
Now let me just take a second to tell you my favorite component in any game, and that's wooden dice. I don't know, there's just something about wooden dice that gives me wood?
There are actually 3 dice total. One represents for combat, and the other 2 are for your actions that you'll take during the day and night.
After that, we've got some colorful ship pawns that are just asking to be played with, and finally, the player boards and cards underneath, with a start player token and some treasure cards. Setup is relatively simple. Each player gets a player board, a deck of their chosen color, along with the corresponding ship, as well as a stack of 3 doubloons and 3 food.
All players place their ships on the starting spot, marked Port Royal. They shuffle their decks, draw 3 cards, and everyone's ready to start the game.
Oh wait, we have to determine the starting player.
Now it's time to decide who goes first. Hey Justin, can you get me the dice, please?
I have a better idea.
Wait, what? What's go?
Ready? Go!
No, Justin, you win. You go first. Oh.
Yay!
Once play order is determined which way you decide, the first player or captain rolls the dice, and then assigns each die to either the morning or night action in the navigation box.
You see, each card has a left action and a right action, which correspond to the day and the night dice. So depending on how the dice are rolled, your actions will differ in quantity. And you'll choose a card, green arrows let you move forward, red arrows move back, and then you can get supplies like gold, food, and cannons.
Each player places a card of their choice from their hand face down, and then they are flipped up and resolved in a clockwise order from the captain. Once everyone's done, the start player token is passed clockwise, and it's all done again, starting with a new roll of the dice.
And that's really the basics of it in a nutshell. Once one person makes it to Port Royal, at the end of that round, the game is over.
Well, there is also combat and payment for when you move.
Once you actually land on a space that another player's on, you are then in combat and you are the attacker. You then anti-cannons, roll the dice, and if you get the bang side, you automatically win. And then at that point, the person being attacked then gets to retaliate and either bet how many cannons they want, then roll the die. The winner either gets to steal a treasure from the other player, steal something in somebody's hull, and then also you can give away a treasure. Now this is really important because there's cursed treasures in the treasure pile as well. So this is a good opportunity to be able to get rid of that treasure. There's also payment of food. Each space on the board is either marked with tiny triangles, which means how much food you need to pay, or a golden circle, which is how much gold you need to pay. Now this can get kind of tricky, but it's the most trickiest part of the game, is that when you have to pay for a spot and you can't afford it, you pay all that you can to the bank, and then you go back to the space you can afford, or to a free space.
And that's the real beauty of this game, is in its simplicity. Games like these are easy to learn, easy to play, and easy to have fun with. They tend to be referred to as family weight because the rules are simple enough to be learned by anyone of any age. And since it uses dice at the core of its mechanics, there's a sense of randomness that makes every game feel slightly different, though at its core, it's still a beautiful, simple, fun game for anyone.
I agree with almost all of that, but a thing that affects a lot of people is the price of a game.
One thing many reviewers I feel don't talk about is price, because price of a game can matter a lot for the people that are about to play it. If you have a certain budget, you might not be able to go and buy a $100 game. You might need to spend only $40 on a game, a cheap small game. Prices become very important to me. Now with this game at $60, I think it's still very worth it.
So, being new to tabletop games, Jamaica was my very first game that I played, and that's what really brought me into this. And I love this game. It's simple, it's nice, it's quick, it can be quick, and it's really fun to just play with friends and try to mess them up as much as possible.
Now, since this is our first episode of Pizza Nights, we get to introduce our game rating system. We will go over 4 categories. We've got aesthetics,
Important.
Rules and playability,
Very important.
theme, and then bang for your buck, where the person who bought this game actually gets to talk about that. So we'll start with aesthetics. We will give them a rating out of 10. So I give this game an 8 out of 10. Drum roll. We'll put a drum roll in there. I mean, all the ships are really well sculpted. You can see like the individual cannons on the side, wooden dice, always cool, linen finish cards. The counters are super well cut and things like that. The counters are still cardboard, but it's not a big deal. If they were anything other than cardboard, the price would shoot through the roof, but we'll talk about that later. Brock?
I also give it an 8 out of 10, pretty much for the same reasons, and the fact that it is cardboard. It's cool and all, but you can also pimp out the game later on with other things to do like that. I love the linen finish cards. That's a huge thing for me, and I've already gone over that these dice are phenomenal. I love wooden dice. There's just something about the feel, and it just added a little something for me.
One thing I wanted to add real quick that I forgot to talk about was actually this insert. This insert is one of the best inserts ever made, I guess, for a board game. It organizes everything. You don't have to worry about expansion because there are no expansions for Jamaica. Fits everything beautifully, and it just works. Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
I also give it 8 out of 10 for reasons listed above. Other than that, like, there's not really much to go over. I'm a big sucker for game boards, and this game board looks amazing. So, yeah, 8 out of 10 for me.
Cool. So now we'll talk about rules and playability, Justin.
Yeah, so rules and playability, I'm going to give this about a 9. I mean, it's really easy to pick up and start playing. The first game you're going to play when you're just reading through the rules is generally going to take probably 45 minutes. After that, everything's just going to take half an hour. So yeah, just 9 out of 10 for that. Yeah.
I give it an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, around that area, 8.5.
There you go.
I'll be very annoying with this. I'm going to add a 0.5
Decimals.
just because it is so simple and the game time is very quick. You can get through this. It's a very simple game. Anybody can play it, and you can bring the family into it, and it's super simple.
Yeah, I'll 8.3. It is extremely simple. The learning game is not going to take you like double the amount of time like some other games do.
Twilight Imperium 3.
Oh no, that's gonna be an entire day.
Yeah.
But it's easy to pick up. There's only a few rules you have to remember that are finicky. Things like the paying for spaces. That's as hard as it gets. Everything else, you're not being paralyzed by choices like some games that I can't think of off the top of my head because I'm too smart. And otherwise, it's just very quick, very easy, and it's just fun.
And the rulebook is very straightforward.
It's super straightforward.
There isn't anything that in the rules that will make you go, what? That doesn't make sense.
Now we'll talk about theme. So we'll start with Brock.
All right. So my rating on the theme is very hard for me because it's pirates. I love pirates. But at the same time, how much does the game actually interpret with the theme during your gameplay? Yes, you're a ship. Yes, you're racing. The biggest thing for me is that you're collecting treasure while you race, and there is actually cursed treasure, which we've gone over. And to me, that's great. And then really what bumped it up to me is the backstory that they give you on the rulebook with each character. That added a lot to my theme. So honestly, it doesn't seem like a lot, but the board and everything just combined, has added a lot to the theme for me, even though it may not play through like you're a pirate. You can act that out, you can add that yourself. So I give this honestly an 8 out of 10 for theme.
Justin?
It's hard for me because, like Brock, I do like pirates. For me, it's a little more complicated. It gets to about a 6 out of 10. For me, it just feels like there should be more piratey things. Maybe a little bit more treasure on the map, or a little bit more fighting, or something along those lines.
The fighting's not intense enough.
Yeah, the fighting isn't intense enough for me to really feel like a pirate. Or yeah, so I mean, just the basic stuff like that would bring it down for me to a 6. So
Okay. I'm gonna go with a 7, right in between you two, because I like to complicate things. But I do agree with some of your points that it doesn't feel like you're a pirate. But at the same time, I think if they added things solely for the sake of theme, that would kind of crumble some of the rules.
diminish it a little bit.
Yeah, it's so simple and clean right now that the theme is fairly strong. I mean, you got treasures, you got like neat like special cannons you find, and swords and piratey things, and there's like everything just looks amazing, and the box is a treasure chest for God's sake. And it looks so good, and while the gameplay is not exactly like you are a pirate, you still get the sense of it. And since the game is so fun, you can sort of suspend the fact that the game is not super dense in terms of theme. I mean, it's no Star Wars Imperial Assault in terms of theme, but it has just enough so that it's not an abstract, and a little more to make it fun. It's kind of a cartoony pirate sort of thing.
The point gets across, and that's where you want the theme, because like, I agree with you that if the theme was any more, it would have just diminished.
Yeah, the gameplay would have suffered.
It would have.
For the sake of theme, which is a pretty bad thing to do, game designers. So, finally,
we get bang for your buck. Now,
this guy
I bought the game, so I'm going to save my opinion for last. Now, I'm just going to ask this question. Would you buy this game for $60?
Yes.
Would you buy this game for $60?
Yes. I do have some things to say about that, but yes.
Now, for me, I give this a 7 out of 10 for price, because it is just so expensive for cardboard. And, you know, there are games that have just woods of cardboard in them
Forests.
that cost hundreds of, $100 games that are just cardboard. And those are the hard games to sometimes buy, but, you also get these awesome ships, the wooden dice. You get a lot of stuff in the game, and the insert is phenomenal, and honestly, I don't mind paying a little extra for inserts. So for me, the perfect price probably would have been about $50. Honestly, that's where I think the sweet spot was, and I think another reason why it is so expensive is it's a small manufacturing company. It's not a huge name, and the print run was very short on this game, and
it's still being printed, luckily, but they're not in huge numbers. We're not talking rolling out trucks here.
No, it's very sparse, so I think that affected it. And what did you want to add?
You hit most of the points I was gonna say. I think like $60 is still a good price for what you get. I mean, we've played this game at least 10, 15 times.
The replayability is just phenomenal in this game.
That I consider price more of price per play, which a lot of people do. So if you look at, we've played what, 10, 15 times?
We've played more than that. That's
played
easy.
We've played more than that.
Let's assume 15.
All right.
We've paid $4 to play.
Exactly.
Which is nothing.
Which is great.
A game where you're getting below $5 a play is a game worth keeping, in my opinion. Some games are more expensive, but if you play them more, they're totally worth it. Jamaica is a game we never mind playing.
No, I will play that anytime, anywhere.
Love playing this game.
So price is always a very complicated thing, and that's why I feel this is probably going to be a huge section for us, just because price needs to be talked about when buying a game, because it is a concern for people.
And we do talk specifically brick and mortar store MSRP. There are stores where you could find this for cheaper. It's just we tend to buy games brick and mortar just because then we have them that day, because we're really impatient.
And also, we like to support our local game stores.
They let us film here.
And, Shall We Play is great people. Thank you, Derek. And so, it's
been a really big help.
It's always great to support your local game store. So I always like to put towards that extra money to buy it from my local game store, because I want to keep them around. I want to be able to have people be able to come here and play like we do.
Yeah. Look at this table. Look at this table.
It's a
beautiful.
nice table.
It's a nice table.
It's great.
Pretty nice table.
All right.
So yeah, that was our review of Jamaica.
We are the Pizza Knights. And we'll see you next time, guys. Thank you.
Take care.